Hey, what's up everybody? Thanks for clicking on the video. My name is David Pendleton and I'm going to cover the front 9 holes of the Pro Division. This is the Heroes of Rock tournament. So I'm actually almost completed playing, but it's going on 11 p.m. here. So I've been up for about 19, 20 hours. And I just made a very boneheaded move on hole number 17 where I picked up a par on one of my accounts. That's going to cost me a minus 30. So ultimately, I'll be a minus 30 on one account and I'll be a minus 29 on the other. So very stupid move. That's just tiredness kicking in. Put a ball right in the water because I misadjusted my shot. I pulled rings to the opposite way. I don't know if you've ever done that before or not, but I just did. So that's it. That's my little rant for the night. But overall, I've got a lot of great replays here to show you. I'm excited to dig into it, and I'll get the back 9 up tomorrow morning. I just got to get my butt to bed here as I'm tired. So we're going to go 10% max. This is kind of going to be like how we played it in the qualifying round. So 10% at max, and then really we're just going to push up rings based off our wind strength. So here's 6.2 miles an hour. This is on the lower scale of what we're going to get with the Berserker. You know, you could get this thing all the way up into like, I think 8.5 or so, 8.4. So you see here, I'm at the plus 15, and then I move it all the way to the plus 25. So I'll show you that again one more time. If you're not used to this little method of the game, it is something that I'm starting to use more as I have more and more replays from past tournaments. I'll be able to dial shots in more specifically like this. So here you see we hit this one 383. Now look at this one. This is 8.3 mile per hour on the wind. So this one is much higher. Same thing, one top spin, 2 bars of side spin to the right. You see that we start at max distance at the plus 30. I'm going to make my adjustment here for the wind. So because it's 8.3, we have to pull a lot more rings than we do when it's in the 6s. So now I'm at the plus 9. I meant to pull it up, you know. Now I'm at the plus 9. I only moved it 8 yards up because the wind strength is a lot higher. So the first shot at 6 miles an hour, I moved it back up 10 yards. This one, I moved it up 8 yards. You see here the shot looks good. And both of them land up on the fairway, leaving us for a very short chip-in shot with the inbringer. Always good to check the distance of your inbringer. Okay, you're going to play at 20% at mid. You know, if you're here like I am, that's pretty much right at mid distance. But you might be closer to the pin. You might be farther away. So we're going to play at 20% with the inbringer. Definitely check your distance because the inbringer is very slider specific when it comes to these type of shots. But here, we hit a perfect ball, and it's all good in the hole, dead center for hole number 1. That'll take us here to hole number 2. Now, hole number 2, this one is a little bit difficult. I'm crushing it on the back 9 because we got to play it the same way that we did in the qualifying round. You know, the tailwind angle on this one is throwing me off a little bit, and I kept missing to the right and missing to the right. And really, there's only one way to fix that when you can't get it figured out on this hole is you have to start to add in pull angles. So for me, I'm putting in an 1159 pull angle on this one, and you'll see what I mean. Here's your spin adjustment, though. I think we can get this one close. 3 top and a little bit of side spin to the right. But I'm really looking for one thing here, and that's going to be our landing spot. You see that dark green row that I'm aiming on? I'm basically aiming right where the light green and the dark green meet. You see that right there? And then if we take a look at our reference point here, our white ring is kind of right up on the rough line. We've played this exact same shot in tournaments past, so at least I had a good baseline of where to start with. But again, just having a hard time keeping this one to the left-hand side of the pin. Now take a look at the needle when I go to pull my rings. I'll back it up a little bit. See it right there? How that's an 1159. Pretty aggressive 1159 though, and you'll kind of see what ends up happening with the shot. And then I'll give a brief description of pull angles here in a second. I don't want to spend too much time on it. So of course, you know, I change up my shot and then I miss it to the left. So what do we need to do differently? Because I do think you can get this one in the hole. So I want to keep this landing spot the exact same because I know that the ball plays good there. I want to keep the spin adjustments the exact same because I know that plays pretty well. The only thing that I want you to do differently here is don't go as aggressive on the pull angle. Like, that's too aggressive. If you're not familiar with what 11:59 and 12:01 means, 11:59 means imagine that you're reading a clock, okay? If it's 12 o'clock, you got both arrows pointing exactly north. Well, here this is more like 11:58. It's just way, way, way too hard of a pull. So, you know, switch it up a little bit. Make it to where the needle only vibrates north and north left, but just flickering. That's the only advice I can give you there. That's a tough angle to hit it, but I'm going to show you almost an automatic hole-in-one on the back nine, but that's going to be tomorrow morning when I do the back nine. And yes, I'm still getting up early to get that done, so I'll get that up for everybody here. 3 bars of side spin to the right. Hole number 3, I hate this drive. 3 bars of side spin to the right, 4.5 top. The thing that we have to do here with our rock, the rock gives us great accuracy, but we have to back our target up. So you'll notice here that it starts you off at the plus 16, which is max distance. We don't want to take a max distance shot on this hole because you can run to the top part of the rough. You see how my ball guideline is pointing to the top of the rough? Well, if we were to move this all the way up to the plus 16, we'd be like in the rocks. So here you're going to see me back up and try to find a good spot. This is a pretty good spot right here at the plus 8. With my blue ring right there on the rough line. I don't mind that right there because we know we're going to be using curl on this hole every time anyways. So here we make our adjustment and we're going to use quite a bit of curl. You see here I've got an entire ball of curl outside the adjustment window. The one thing that I would note here is this is over curled just a little bit. We could take a little bit of curl off. Now, not a whole lot, but a little bit because, you know, the more left-hand side of this hole, the closer we are to, or the more left-hand side we are on the fairway, the closer we are to the hole on shot 2. And here's shot number 2. Play it 20% at max, and you see how we're at maximum distance of our club here. This is obviously very dangerous. I've got 1 bar of backspin combined with about 1.5 left with my ball guideline. You know, kind of just be aiming at the hole, as you'll see here. Going to use an offset to the left. Okay. You'll see how this ball reacts. Hole 3 for me is a tough albatross. It always has been. So I want to show you that offset again because that's just kind of how this ball glides up the fairway here and rolls onto the green. Right there. You see? Take a look at that light green row. We're just aiming basically almost where the light green and dark green squares meet. The only thing that I did wrong here is just a little bit too much backspin. That's it. Not that I really did anything wrong because I only left it about 1 green square short of the pin, as you see. I thought the tailwind would carry us. It even looks like I used a little bit of overpower on the shot, and we still didn't get there. Comes super close, though. But that's that as far as hole number 3 goes. Takes us on here to hole number 4. Hole number 4, I'm going to go ahead and play this one 20% at max. You're going to see the spin adjustments here is 4 bars of backspin, 2 bars of side spin to the right. I'm going to let you know something about this shot right here is I practiced this hole over and over and over again. And I couldn't get it to drop. No matter what I did, I couldn't get it to drop. So I just went and kept playing this shot, and then it goes in the hole. So how random is this game sometimes? But I thought that I had a good line, but no matter what I did, I kept missing to the right-hand side. The ball kept missing right, kept missing right. Even as I moved my target over, it missed to the right. So here, I make my adjustment. We'll go back in a second. We'll really analyze the landing spot. Sometimes I get to talking, and I just let the replay play, and then we'll go back and take a look at it. But you see here that it wants to miss right, but for some reason it goes in the hole. Now, the 5.6 miles an hour was on the very lower end of the scale of what I was getting, so maybe that has something to do with it as well. I don't know, but that's the only thing you can think of. Obviously, if this was 6.6 miles per hour, I would have probably missed it to the right because the wind would have kept pushing me over that way. But regardless, there's our landing spot. Take a look at that. You can kind of see that we got the end of the ball guideline going right through the top right-hand corner of that light green square. And you'll just kind of reference where we're at. And then with the sniper 10 here, you can see we've got almost a blue ring on the rough line. It's actually a little bit into the rough, so that's a good reference point too. And there's a really good look at the overall landing position. But like I said, you're more than likely to try to duplicate this shot, but you're probably going to miss to the right, especially if you get higher wind. You can try to move your target over a little bit to the left and maybe put the blue ring more on the rough line, but even when I did that, I was still missing it to the right. I know I keep saying that. It's probably just tiredness kicking in, but I try to get you some detail here to help you out. There it is again, barely squeaked it in. Then we go on to this hole right here. This one is an important drive to hit. We're getting pretty good wind so far, so I can only imagine in the finals we're probably going to get some type of nasty headwind, mixed with like some weird crosswind that's going to make us hit a perfect ball. But we're able to use a Titan ball here, 2 bars of side spin to the left. And look at this, 2 top, 2 left, okay? Now I aim my target over here, right-hand side of the fairway. I do that on purpose so that I have a little bit of wiggle room in case I hit a great left drive. Half a ball of curl to the left, but thank goodness on my accounts I hit 2 perfect balls, so it was a very easy eagle. Don't use overpower on accident and don't use more topspin, because as long as you use that 2 top and 2 left and you hit perfect without overpower, you're going to be good right here in this range. Leaving us for shot number 2. Again, another really nice wind angle. Here you're going to kind of notice that we're going to apply our topspin. This one's always more difficult, again, for me to get the albatross on, just because we have a really long landing distance from where we're going to land right here, our target, to the pin. You have to account for secondary wind push, which isn't something I think a lot of people think about or talk about. But when we adjust our rings, we're only doing that for the wind at first. When this ball touches down on the fairway and bounces, the wind is going to start pushing it again. That's how the game works. But you see here, we get really close. The speed is really nice. The only thing that we need to do is probably move that over to the left-hand side a little bit, and we could pick us up what I would consider a tough albatross there on hole number 5. Hole number 6. Now this one, so I was playing the front 9 on my lunch break at work. And if you don't know, I'm the manager where I work at. So even though I'm on lunch break, sometimes I get asked a lot of questions, which is great. I love helping my team for sure. But I don't really have like a quiet place to go play where I'm out of sight, out of mind. And I was trying to get this content up and available for you tonight on day 1. Get pro out a little bit early. I totally missed the wind angle here. This is a hole in which we can send it. We can get us a berserker out. You could get yourself out a snow globe out. And you could absolutely get yourself up there to the green, fringe, or fairway area. I totally missed it. I just had too much on my mind. And I played this shot like we would play it in crosswind or headwind. So very, very, big mistake on my end here. I want to apologize in advance for it because, especially in pro, this is a send it wind. And I just missed it, This was my first attempt at the hole. Obviously after this, and I started looking at my replays, I was like, oh wow, we have a wind here that we can send it. I tried sending it on my other account, but I have very little berserker, so I really couldn't practice it. I practiced it once. I hit a great right, put it into the bunker. So I was like, well, forget it. Now I just have to play it this way, because it's my other account that has all the berserker balls that I could practice with. But regardless, you know, this is still a good opportunity for an eagle. I'm 2 for 2 on it on the back nine. I didn't pick it up here. I did come very close. I just want to show you how this ball reacts. You can see we're aiming dead center of the cup here. Sometimes we have to offset this hole. We will do that on the back nine, but here on the front nine, we hit a perfect ball. And we just miss it to the right-hand side. So if anything, I would go ahead and favor the left-hand side of the cup, or use a slider if you're really good at slider. But here, I think we can just play it with that elevation and just offset left-hand side of the cup inside the cup, and you'll be good to go. On the back nine, we have to offset the other way, but I'll show you that later. All right, this one, you know, 15% at max. This is yet another wind angle in which we had in a previous tournament, actually literally almost identical to a tournament we played before. And, you know, here I'm trying to find this line that I used. And it's taken me a minute to get it figured out. But you'll see here, yellow ring on the rough. And this is what I was looking for. I don't know why it took me so long, but again, I was playing at work. And then because I felt rushed while I was playing on my lunch break, I actually stopped here on hole number 7 and then picked back up tonight when I got home. But take a look here, yellow ring on the rough, and take a look at where the ball guideline is, okay? We're talking about 2 dark vertical green rows to the right of the pin. And you'll see on this one, I'm basically aiming the end of my ball guideline right through the top left-hand corner of that dark green square. Now, the only thing about this hole, in which is going to be hard to figure out, is going to be your curl adjustment. This is just what I consider baby curl. When I say baby curl, I mean you can still see some blades of grass between the left edge of my ball and that blue adjustment window. So it's not like I'm moving my ball and touching that target zone. But you can see here, I could have used a little bit more curl and got that ball to drop. But again, it's a guessing game. You know, you have to think about what my wind was, and it's a lot to remember, you know, when you go to play, unless you're taking notes or unless you're watching my video on a computer, you know, or like on a smart TV, and then you're playing on a separate device. But 5.3 mile per hour wind, that is not a big wind push. So, you know, I used just baby curl. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, the higher the wind, right? So the higher the wind that we're going to have blowing to the left-hand side, even less curl that we're going to use. Maybe no curl at all. So this is kind of a guessing game here on this one, but at least we're close. You know, I know some people are going to get it, some people aren't, and you're going to be like me and kind of burning that edge of the hole there, and then you get your opponent using that stupid emoji and laughing at you. That's annoying to me. All right, so now we're going to go here to hole number 8, and this one is a great opportunity to go to the green as well. And we're going to be using a big topper, okay? I don't care what level your big topper is. If you're playing pro, you probably got at least a big topper level 3, and you're easily going to be able to accomplish this drive as long as you set it up correctly and as long as you pull your rings right and use the correct curl, okay? So it's kind of specific. But here on this big topper 6, you see how I'm at the plus 15 yard mark? That's max. I don't want to set up there because that ball guideline is not right. I need to back it up a couple yards. Now, for you, if you got like an extra, or if you got a big topper 5, 4, or 3, this is essentially what you want to do. You want your ball guideline looking like that. Notice how the second bounce is well before the sand bunker. Notice how the third bounce is well after the sand bunker. No matter what big topper you have, we all have the same amount of top spin, and we're only using 1 bar of side spin to the left, I believe. That's what it was, right? Yeah, full top, 1 bar of side spin to the left. We can all do that. So just like that, okay? Now we pull our rings, and the one thing that I don't like about this shot is we're great left and we're probably in trouble, but I hit perfect on both my accounts. And this right here is what your curl needs to look like. Just like that. You can see here I'm in practice mode. This took me a few practice shots to get the right line, but once I figured it out, I was 2 for 2 on my accounts in real life mode. Boom, bounce, boom, bounce. You may get lucky and drop the shot. I mean, heck, you never know. I've made this hole-in-one a couple times before in tournament play on rookie and in pro, and you just get lucky and the ball finds its way home. But that's a great line. Just make sure that you study that shot, because that's a good eagle opportunity to pick up on hole number 8. Now we go into the last hole, hole number 9. Couple things, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. That would be awesome. Take a moment to hit the thumbs up button too. Here's hole number 9. Here's what I'm going to tell you is I messed this up on one account. I could be a minus 31. I could have a really good round going, but I just played some stupid shots. Here, if we're using a berserker, okay, if we're using a bubble ball, power 5, the higher wind resistance you can play with, the better off you're going to be. I'm using a berserker here, so I'm going with a little bit of overpower. As you see, I'm pulling into overpower. Now, ultimately, I probably don't need to use as much overpower as I did. Now, I hit perfect, okay? On my other account, I hit a great left, and I stuck the ball in the rough, and I could not save my long-distance thorn shot for an eagle. And then, I parred, like I said, hole 17 on the back 9 like a bonehead, and I'm going to end up at a minus 29. So 2 stupid mistakes cost me a minus 31. But here, you see what I mean with the big dog? And this is why I'm saying we didn't have to push the drive as hard, because look at all this fairway we have to work with. You see what I mean? So tons of fairway to work with. I'm going to use 2 bars of side spin to the right, and I even use some backspin, all right? Even use some backspin. So, play the drive a little bit conservative. Yes, you need to get, good distance on the drive, because this is a very long par 5, especially in headwind. But you don't want to push it so hard you end up like me and put one in the rough and then kick yourself in the butt, because you'd rather gamble on the big dog shot than you would the drive. And here you can see this is no problem to put in for an eagle. Hey, I hope I'm doing a great job for you. I really do put in a lot of time on this, on top of playing on my lunch breaks, taking practice shots, getting up at 4 a.m., going to bed at midnight like I am tonight to get this all done for you. If you appreciate my time, if you appreciate my efforts, and you like to show me some love, via a tip like you would your favorite waiter, waitress, or bartender, I always put a link to my PayPal in the comments section below. Donations help me a lot, keeps me motivated, keeps me out here grinding to help you all out. If you have the means to do so and you like my stuff, that's awesome. But at the end of the day, I appreciate everybody watching, and let me know how you do in the comments. And like I said, tomorrow morning, get pro out there for you. Thanks, everybody. Pro back 9.